everybody, and welcome to the Responsible AI Report from the Responsible AI Institute, where we are speaking with some of the leading experts in responsible AI. Very excited. We have Christophe Rougeaux joining us today. Christophe, thanks so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much for the invitation, Patrick.
It's really great to have you here, Christophe. I really enjoyed chatting with you. We first connected, I guess at this point, it was a few months ago. Learning about your work and your passion for artificial intelligence, and also the implementation of safe artificial intelligence as well, creating AI that is rooted in trust and safety. Of course, you are an expert in analytics, and you're currently working as a model risk management executive at TD Bank. And you wrote this incredible article that I would love to start with that was published on risk.net, which emphasized how financial institutions can implement AI risk management through dedicated governance teams and specialized validation capabilities. It really was a great article about the importance of model risk management as it relates to AI in the financial industry. So, with all of that said, Christophe, I'm wondering, from that article, what do you believe are some key capabilities and organizational structures that banks should prioritize?
So I see that actually in two levels. The first level being that, in banking, we have this model risk management team that exists for decades. So really building within this team specific teams capabilities, so data scientists who understand AI and are able to review and challenge independently the soundness of the AI used across the banks. So concretely, it means hiring the right talent, but also having internally procedure so that people know what tests to conduct, but also the right tool. Right? Because at the end of the day, you need also technology to support your testing activities. So that's the first part. The second part that is quite interesting and where there was a lot of discussion in the industry following notably Gen AI is the fact that looking at model risk only when it comes to AI is not efficient. People realize that there are other questions that need to be tackled from a risk management viewpoint. For instance, you need to see if the model will introduce bias or fairness issue, right? So question around compliance of the AI. But there are also questions like you raised, third-party risk management, right? A lot of the solution are brought by vendor, but how do we make sure that we have full transparency when AI is used and the proper control? And on top of that, other topics such as cybersecurity of the AI, data risk question, privacy questions, etc. So basically, the key point, and banks are working on that actively, is really to expand the model risk management function and include all these new risk dimension and have in a way a group of people with different background covering different risk aspects, and having these people working together to bring a holistic view on the risk of AI. So this is really the new capabilities, I would say, that is quite important and where banks are actively working on.
Yeah, it has been really fascinating to see just how the financial industry has in many ways been leading the charge on responsible AI and how risk management fits into all of that as well. Christophe, I would love to hear your perspective on this. How can risk management teams effectively build and retain the specialized expertise that's needed for AI validation within the finance industry, while at the same time competing with tech companies? Because of course, tech companies, they're at the forefront with regards to how this technology is implementing. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on really how risk management teams in the financial sector can balance these things.
And that's an interesting question because it has been a challenge across banks. And in fact, just to share a bit of context, right, we have seen during COVID talent moving from banking to fintech or tech companies, right? Now, interestingly, there is the opposite movement following, news we've seen over the last 2 years with massive layoff, right? But that being said, there is a real question for banks on how to acquire the right talent and rapidly, right? Because AI keeps increasing in terms of volume, and there is also on top of the skill set a question of capacity, right? I would say a few things, right? There are the typical levers like compensation, flexibility in location, and these are elements where banks worked on and developed further. But there are other aspects I would highlight, right? And where perhaps there are nuances between what you would do in banking within a MRM team as opposed to what you will do in a tech company, right? And this nuance is that when you're part of model risk management, you basically cover all analytics, including AI, used across the organization. So the scope is really large. Like you will cover, models used in risk management, but also models used in marketing, AI used to accelerate operation or improve customer experience. We also have cases of analytics used by HR or cybersecurity, etc. So basically, the variety of topics is really broad. And with that, there is a real opportunity for talent to grow within the bank, whether it's within model risk management or more broadly through other functions within the organization. Patrick, I was yesterday at a conference and someone raised to me that actually model risk management is a tool for the risk organization in banking because of the variety of topics that are covered, but also the rigor of the work that is being done. So to me, what is important, and that's something where, I put quite a lot of highlight with my teams, it's beyond the compensation and, other aspects such as flexibility of the location. It's really focusing on the development of the talent, right? And bringing this view that, they will have the exposure that will help them to grow within the bank, right? Whether it's within the team or elsewhere, and giving them the tools, right? And the opportunity to develop.
Yeah. Yeah, you make a really good point too. And that kind of relates back to a bit what I was saying before, that, and especially through model risk management, the financial sector is really at the forefront of how AI is being used, deployed, developed. In your experience just working in the financial sector, what specific approaches have you seen work well for accelerating AI, or rather accelerating the deployment of AI within the financial sector, while also maintaining pretty robust risk management as well?
Yes, and this is, I would say, one of the hot topics today because speed to market for AI is really linked to competitiveness, the competitiveness advantage of the bank, right? Like you want to be one of the first to deploy, a distinctive AI solution that will help to capture more customer, for instance, or improve their experience or the efficiency of the bank. Look, I've seen different approaches. To me, really the success factor are the following. One is understanding that to bring the speed to market, you need to look at the life cycle of AI holistically. So you need to understand today how much effort is spent not only by validation, model risk management, but also by model development team, right? The data scientists who will build the solution. So how long does it take to, for instance, collect the data, to process the data, and then to build the relevant algorithm, right? How long does it take to document all that and to submit it to the risk management team? Then you look at the process from a risk management team, and then comes the question of technology, right? If I have the right approval, how long does it take me to implement that in a production environment following the required standard, right? So that's really the first step, right? Having an honest assessment on the situation across the lifecycle activities. The second one is there is no one solution to reduce the time. There are many options that exist. Some of these are about automating activities, other are about optimizing, the operating model or reviewing the processes, right? Like instead of having a waterfall approach, you try to prioritize some of the activities. But what is important is having in mind all this menu of efficiency lever, really to think about what are the costs and benefits of each of these, and what is the right fit for the organization. Looking at, the culture within the bank, the level of disruption that it will create, right? Because at the end of the day, you need people to follow the new practice. And from that, you reach, a conclusion of what is a good fit, right? And then there is a question of continuous improvement, right? You do this exercise once, you might not reach, the full acceleration that you expected the first time, and that's fine. It's just a question to get a feedback loop, learn from it, and to continuously improve the practice. And finally, one of the topics that is important, especially given my consulting background, is change management, right? Like, how do you make sure that all these processes are and new practices are effectively executed, right? So having a communication from the very top to explain how important the initiative is, but also having, smart training in place so that people know what to do and how.
Yeah, Christophe, that's a really good point, is that when it comes to safe AI implementation and deployment, it really starts from the top and creating a culture that supports putting safe frameworks and guardrails in place to be able to implement AI effectively and then harness the power of AI as well, but in a safe way. And I love also what you were saying about this sort of feedback loop of being able to go back and improve your processes, look at your processes over time, especially as this technology continues to develop. Christophe, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to join us today. Not only for taking the time, but also just your expertise in this work as well. I could tell just from the way you speak about model risk management and the importance of it in the financial sector and as it relates to AI. That enthusiasm is so important, as with the work that we do at the Responsible AI Institute of helping large organizations and small implement AI safely and responsibly. So I'm so glad you were able to take the time. Before we part ways, I'm wondering if you could just share with our listeners where they could find out more information about you and all the work you're doing.
So, I think the most direct way is LinkedIn. So they can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'm more than happy, to exchange with people, share some of the publication, or even, share advice from a prior viewpoint.
Wonderful. Well, I'll make sure to include the link to your LinkedIn in the show description. So for all of our viewers out there, all you have to do is scroll down, click that link provided. Definitely recommend connecting with Christophe and learning more about the great work that he's doing. Christophe, thanks so much again for joining us for the show.
Thank you very much.